Hey everybody, Brett Etheridge here, founder of Dominate the GMAT, and I want to talk to you today about motivation, and specifically what I call knowing your why. You know, if you think about the components of doing well on the GMAT, there's a lot of them. Certainly you have to know a certain amount of content. You have to actually know, triangle rules and quadratic equations. You have to know strategies to get right answers more quickly. You have to do well with time management, right? You have to practice in applying what you're learning. But one of the things that not a lot of people talk about that's ultimately going to drive your success is your motivation to do what it takes to put in the time, effort, money to succeed on the GMAT. For whatever reason, I've gotten a lot of emails recently, which is why I'm recording this video, from some of my students and actually some non-students who just reach out to me and say, Brett, I'm struggling with motivation. Can you help me? And I say, look, I can help you with the GMAT, but motivation has to come from within. You have to know why you even want to go to business school in the first place. Your why is powerful. Your why will help you jump over mountains, right? Darren Hardy gives a great analogy. If you don't know who Darren Hardy is, he is the publisher of Success Magazine and author of a great book called The Compound Effect. And I was attending one of his seminars recently, and he gave this analogy. He talked about how maybe you're a little bit afraid of heights and you're being asked to walk across a balance beam. Okay, so maybe it's really low to the floor and they say, hey, here's $20. If you can walk across this balance beam, you get the $20. Of course you would take that risk. Look, I'm not that afraid of heights. For 20 bucks, I'll go do that. Then he raises up a bit. Maybe it's 5 feet off the ground. Still a little hesitant, but hey, 20 bucks. I'll do it for $20. Now maybe we put it 10 feet off the ground. Would you do it now? Yeah, 20 bucks. Maybe you give me 50 bucks, I'll do it, right? But you would still be willing to do it. But now what if we raise it all the way up and put it between two skyscrapers? Heck no, no way. But that's only because your why isn't big enough. The $20 or even $50 or even $100 isn't enough for you to do that, to overcome that fear. But here's what he says. What if your child was in the building on the other end of the balance beam? And what if that building were on fire? You'd go, wouldn't you? You would do whatever, you would run across that balance beam. $20 isn't big enough of a why, but your child in a burning building is enough of a why. And that may seem a little extreme, but that goes back to the importance of knowing your why for the GMAT as well. See, it takes time and effort, a lot of hours and energy and money. Whether you're taking my course, you still have to pay for the GMAT, right? There's a time and money investment to do well on the GMAT. What's going to motivate you? You have to tap into that. So here's my encouragement to you. Think about why you are taking the GMAT anyway. Obviously, it's a means to an end. Why do you even want to go to business school? Guys, you're probably going to have to write about that in your application essays anyway. So whether you're at the front end of your journey now, or you're already partway through your journey, or you're just about to take your GMAT and you're running out of steam, take stock, reconnect, spend some time. Literally sit down under a tree, with the sun shining with your journal and just sit and think and dream and connect with that. Because if your why isn't powerful enough, guys, I can fill your head with all the content knowledge in the world, but you're just not going to have the motivation to do it. And what I've found is there are really kind of 4 probably major drivers of change, of a why for why you might do something. Number 1 is simply being sick and tired of the status quo. Absolutely, we make changes in life because we're just sick and tired of being sick and tired. Have you ever heard that? I would say, though, that could be a good catalyst, but there are thousands of things you can do. Why business school? Why the GMAT, right? So it could be a catalyst. Another one, though, is the intrinsic value. Sometimes we make a change or we go to business school for the intrinsic value, just to say, you know what, it was always on my bucket list. I always wanted to get a business degree. And that's actually part of the reason why I went back to business school myself. I will tell you this, though, on the back end, when I'm writing those checks for my student loans, yeah, it's nice to say I'm educated. It's nice to say I have that business degree. Is it that nice, for the amount of student loans I'm paying back? Intrinsic value may or may not be enough for you. A third, though, is what I call negative drivers, fear drivers, and these can be incredibly powerful. Maybe this describes some of you. Maybe it's a fear of failure. Maybe it's a fear of letting your parents down, of disappointing your spouse or a family member, right? You might be thinking, yeah, that's kind of not a great reason to do it, but it's incredibly powerful. I think about my dad, who he was a very successful trial lawyer. He still is. He's kind of in the top 1% of trial lawyers. And I asked him one day, Dad, how did you become so successful? And he said, I'll tell you, it's because I was so afraid of failing. He grew up poor, and I don't know whether he just didn't want to go back to that situation or what, but he said, I was driven every day by that fear of failure. Now, you might not think that's like some super noble reason for being a successful lawyer, but it was powerful enough for him. Now, for some of you, it's kind of the fourth one would be more of the utilitarian thing, right? The good you want to do in the world, potentially, maybe a higher rung in your corporate ladder. Maybe you need this degree to get to the next promotion. Maybe you simply want to make more money and you know you need this piece of paper to do it, or you need the degree to get the next job. You know, it's that utilitarian. This is a means to an end, and that's fine as well, as long as it's a powerful enough driver. Right? If you're going to get an extra $10,000 a year because you have a business degree, is that worth it? If you're going to get a promotion and benefits and things and it's worth an extra $100,000 a year to you, now all of a sudden, hey, I'll put in the time and energy to take the GMAT. So you just have to decide. And what I would say is, take that time now, take stock, really get real with yourself about why you are doing this. And I would say it's never too late to make that change. You know, if you're on the front end of the journey, you can decide maybe you don't even want to go down this road. If you're halfway through, it's never too late to change course. I'll tell you, I actually started taking the LSAT years ago, thinking I wanted to go into law school and follow in my dad's footsteps. But then I watched him have a heart attack at age 51, and I looked at my own life and I asked myself the important questions. What do I value in life? Is it worth potentially sacrificing my health in the pursuit of a legal career, right? And maybe you feel the same way, who knows, about business or something like that. I decided to actually stop taking the LSAT mid-course. Can you believe that? But I realized any money I had invested at that point just wasn't worth it for the long-term thing. Now, I found a different type of motivation and benefit in business school. So, you know, I've since become more of an entrepreneur. I'm trying to create a balance with life and work and have that so that I don't have a heart attack at age 51 like my dad. But at the end of the day, it's never too late to change course as well. And man, if you've gone through this journey and you're right at the end, connecting with your why may just be enough to push you over that hump, to spend the last couple of weekends, right, making those sacrifices, not going out with friends on a Friday night because you have to study the GMAT on a Saturday. I get it. I've been there. I understand the sacrifice, but why is it worth the sacrifice? So that's my challenge to you. I hope this is encouraging to you. Hopefully I've gotten the wheels spinning a little bit and given you some ideas about potential whys, but ultimately you have to connect with your own why. And I'm here. I'm here for you. I'm here to support you, certainly as you move forward with the GMAT. Consider our courses. Reach out to me personally. I can help you get that GMAT score that you want from an X's and O's standpoint. But the motivation has to come from with you. So with that, you're doing good things. I'm proud of you. I look forward to working with you if that's what you ultimately decide. But connect with that why, because it may just be the difference between not doing so well on the GMAT and dominating the GMAT.